Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to do another Christmas shopping video. 'Tis the season. This one is talking about how Gen Z and millennials are cutting back on their spending going into the holiday season.
I don't think it's just them. I think people in general are.
Yeah, but Gen Z gets the headlines, right? I think Gen Z. We're gonna talk about this because a lot of people right now. We did a video on Thriftmas. A lot of people are facing financial uncertainty. A lot of people have gotten laid off this year. A lot of people have been downsized, right-sized according to the corporations, and it just feels like the economy is not in a very good place right now. That's the best way I can put it. I don't have any hard data, just as people who are winding down a physical brick and mortar location. I can tell you it definitely feels like people are not spending money like they were. And apparently it's not just us. So let's talk about it. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV. We're going to be doing more going into 2026. So thank you very much for the support. So Geeky sent this over. This is coming from CNBC. Gen Z and millennial spending cutback set to reshape holiday shopping season. So it says
I just think people in general just hold the money, and especially younger people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because a lot of the people getting laid off, if you look at the layoffs, it's younger people. A lot of people coming out of college now can't find jobs. They're not hiring younger people, which is so weird to me because this is a complete 180 from where things were 10, 15 years ago, where if you were over 35, you couldn't get a job. Now, if you're under 35, you can't get a job.
Pretty much. It's just like you're always caught in some kind of issue. And then they're right next to it, they even said higher costs weigh on American holidays. People can't afford it. Prices are going up. People can't afford it.
Well, maybe we'll take time to reflect on what the holidays are about, Charlie Brown, and not participate in such rampant consumerism like we have in years past. I mean, that is the one upside, I think, to it. So it says Gen Z and millennials plan to shop with tighter budgets, shorter gift lists, and more creative cost-saving measures, including thrifting.
Yes.
Which we've talked about. According to a survey, the majority of Americans say they will complete most of their holiday shopping outside the Thanksgiving weekend events at Black Friday. So that could also tie into why Black Friday is not as big as it was. Yeah. Signaling that the traditional retail calendar continues to lose influence, especially among younger buyers.
Well, they also mentioned Small Business Saturday, which was yesterday.
Yes.
And I know there's a big push to buy from small businesses and keep things local, which I 100% agree with as well. Because when you're going online for these deals, like Cyber Monday deals and things, it's convenient. You can do it from home. But the downside is it's not supporting local businesses. So I know there's been a big push to go out and support local businesses in your area because they don't have that, huge corporate backing for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is better. I mean, honestly, for the economy, because I talked to the kids about this too. It's so weird. Like back in my day, we had more stores to choose from other than Walmart. And we're kind of looking at being a Walmart, Amazon world now. But, when we were kids, there was like all kinds of department stores, all kinds of drug stores, and now it's just, it feels like Highlander. We only have a couple retailers standing. And if they fail, like the whole economy just goes,
Yeah, pretty much.
So this says Gen Z shoppers are also turning to more resourceful gift-giving strategies. They're far more likely to make handmade gifts as a cost-saving measure, 24%.
Well, there's something wrong with that. Actually, I should go around and try to find some different ideas for people that make some really good handmade gift ideas that you can make and put it up somewhere, because I've done it many times. And you can go to thrift stores and find things and repurpose the things into something that looks like it's brand new.
Yeah. They said this is a notable contrast with older shoppers, 13% for Gen X and boomers. This approach blends creativity with practicality and further underscores that younger Americans are feeling the financial squeeze. Everybody's feeling it right now. Despite these cutbacks, most Americans, 82%, including younger consumers, still expect to shop for the holidays, but they plan to do it differently. A majority, 82%, said they will complete most of their holiday shopping outside of this weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, signaling the traditional retail calendar is losing influence. Yeah, so that might explain partly why we're not seeing as many people in person for Black Friday.
A lot of people start shopping early on too. And one thing you can do leading into next year, a couple things you can do leading into next year. It might be helpful to people, whether you're Gen Z or Boomer or whatever. One thing my mom does is she starts out in January, and they used to have like Christmas clubs and stuff. I don't know if they do that so much, but she would take so much money every pay and put it into, an envelope or a savings account or something. And that money is just earmarked for the holidays. So when the holidays comes around, it is not a financial burden at all. Another thing you can do is if you know basically what someone likes and they're usually consistent in what they like, you can start looking for deals throughout the year. Come January, February, there's always a bunch of deals. When we used to do a lot for toys for tots or the Christmas angel trees and things, I would start buying then because you can get stuff really, really cheap. They do it again around June or July. A lot of times places clear a lot of things out, and you can start buying gifts then, especially that June or July, because that's not too far out. And you can start, even for birthdays or other events, you can start finding gifts, in these two times, and you could find a much better deal than if you had to pay more towards Christmas or later in the year or like March when they restock, things like that. Something you can think ahead for next time.
Yeah, I remember Christmas clubs being a thing when we were kids.
And then October, everybody got the Christmas club money, and it was insanity.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, it's basically your bank would do it, and you would put money aside every paycheck. And so that was the thing, Christmas club. So you'd save up all year basically for Christmas, and then you get your shopping check, and that was your money that went to Christmas, which was good to stay on a budget, I think, especially because if you're like, well, I got $500 or $1,000 to spend, and that's it, I got to think about that. And they would just take it out of your check. And I know some companies did that too, but also layaway used to be a thing. I don't know if it still is.
I don't think anybody does layaway anymore. I'm sure somebody does, but not many.
I don't think very many. Well, they probably got burnt on it. But layaway, for those of you who don't remember, was when you literally put something down on an item. Now, it wasn't like a credit card. You didn't get that item until you paid for it. But you would put a percentage, I think it was usually like 20% down or something on your purchase. Then they would store it. And then you would make payments on it. And then when you were ready to pick it up, you pay it off and they'd give you your order. So you could theoretically go shopping. And this is, I know for Christmas, especially, a lot of parents did layaway. They would just go shopping in like October, November, and then they would just pay on it until Christmas. And then they'd pick it up like the week of Christmas or something and take it home. It was great too, because you could get the toys out of the house. Keep them out of the house. But I think logistically, it was like, well, one, we get stuck with a bunch of unsold merchandise, and two, where do we keep it all?
Well, then there was a thing they started doing too, where like if you did cancel your layaway, you had to pay a percentage. And what happened to a lot of people was they started doing these big sales like with Black Friday, and you might have put something on layaway, but by the time Black Friday rolls around, it might be half price on Black Friday, and so people wanted to cancel their orders, and it was a big old mess. So I think that's part of why they took it away. But
it was probably
nice.
abused. Yeah, it was probably abused. I mean, it was probably just a case of, we got to, we have storage for it, and then you had to have a whole layaway department.
Well, I think too that they would take a percentage if you didn't pick it up or something happened, you canceled it. And I think they probably it wouldn't surprise you there was some kind of lawsuit or something about it somewhere that caused it to end.
So yeah, they said price plays a role. They said that Gen Z would actually shop locally if they knew about it, but they said that they're relying on social media, and that pushes the big brands. So it's going to be whatever, TikTok, Instagram
honestly,
are promoting.
Yes.
Price plays a role, but secondary, 17% for Gen Z and 18% for millennials. Younger shoppers still point to awareness far more than cost, underscoring that their biggest barrier isn't willingness or affordability, but visibility. That's interesting. This year's data makes one thing very clear. Young shoppers are navigating this holiday season differently. Gen Z and millennials are entering the holidays with tighter budgets, more intentional spending habits, and far less awareness of where local small businesses are. Well, that's a good damn point. Where are the local businesses? Because most downtowns have been destroyed.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's be honest. Like, it used to be that the downtown in pretty much any city, any medium-sized town, it was busy during the holidays because a lot of the stores were downtown, and then they became centralized in malls, which killed a lot of downtowns. And then Walmart came along and killed the malls off. Again,
well, that and venture capital investment firms came along and killed the malls off too. That's a whole other story.
Well, yeah. Now this is somewhat related, because I found out that the reason there are so many dead malls in Pennsylvania and Ohio, and I guess upstate New York, is the same company. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but they're going around intentionally buying shopping malls to run them into the ground.
Well, yeah, and then they don't fix the ones that they do keep open. They don't fix up. See Pittsburgh Mills parking and
God,
roads.
Pittsburgh Mills.
They did fix part of the road.
They probably had to. They probably got sued because somebody probably lost a freaking wheel on the road.
The Pittsburgh people are like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Trying to go pick up something Mac bid, and it's like, holy shit, my car just sunk into the ground.
Oh my God.
Someone dig me out. It
was like freaking Pittsburgh Mills. Going to Pittsburgh Mills, going to the Sam's Club at Pittsburgh Mills is like driving during a disaster movie where the ground just opens up and swallows the car.
Yeah. I think it's almost like an attraction that, they're going to do that new Cars attraction in Frontierland, and they're going to have it like an off-road where you're going up and down. That's what it's like, except the car's bottoming out the entire way there because it's literally just, one pothole after another. It was like
Dinosaur. Last time we were there, I remember driving, and I'm like, we're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. I'm trying to get around, and I couldn't get over because of there were cars next to me in the good lane. There was like one goodish lane.
Everybody in Pittsburgh knows what we're talking about.
And then the other lane is like the lane from hell where it's just,
and
it's
you think we're exaggerating. No, you're not.
You need like a freaking Hummer to navigate.
My dad was on it the one day, and he's like, what? He was not happy. And neither are we, but he was really...
It's probably just they're not paying to maintain the roads.
Well, they were, and that's just it. They were threatened with fines because it was one of these companies that goes around buying everything, ruining it, and they weren't maintaining it.
Yep. And this is very common. So there are a whole lot of things. I mean, basically, I think 2008 happened, and I don't think we've ever rebounded completely from that. I think that the damage was far more extensive than anybody realized. We're still dealing with long-time retailers going out of business and consolidation and all that, and also Amazon. So this is coming from Investopedia. Is another one you sent.
Okay, good, because I was really confused why it said mold on holiday spending. I'm like, what? Okay, they're breaking the mold. Yes,
breaking the mold. Yeah, that's why they're not buying stuff, because it's all moldy.
Well, they're also spending a lot of money on those coffees. Just
Yeah, the coffee shops are busy. I'm seeing lines around the block. It said Gen Z is feeling mounting household financial pressure going into this holiday season, may report smaller income gains and are relying on using their savings to cover everyday expenses.
Yeah, it's not just you guys. I can tell you across the board, a lot of people are suffering the same things.
The economy sucks. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't care. And we're going to get people in the comments who are like, it's going to get better because it's just, the policies haven't kicked in. I'm like, I'm not saying it's not going to get better. I'm saying as of this moment right now, the economy is absolute dog shit, and everybody's feeling it, and it's trickled down. The pain is trickling down. A lot of people are getting laid off, and it's easier to lay off younger people or just not hire them in the first place than to get rid of people that have been there for a long time. Mm-hmm. That's what I think is going on. 25% of Gen Z respondents say their financial situation has worsened compared to a year ago, according to this Holiday Outlook survey.
Again, I think that's across the board.
That's everybody.
I think you guys are getting hit harder because you guys are struggling more about finding work.
Yeah.
Because there's a stigma against you, which isn't necessarily fair, but sometimes, there are stereotypes for a reason. And unfortunately, everybody's painted with a broad brush, which isn't right.
I would say if you want to get hired, you need to rein the people in your generation in who are out there making all these ridiculous videos about taking 3-hour lunches and spa days and shit like that on the company dime, because that is making everybody look bad. Self-policing, we call it. Consumer sentiment in the U.S. remains cautious, with inflation continuing to dominate as a top concern for many households. Rising prices are prompting significant shifts in consumer behavior, says this Consumer Growth Network in North America at McKinsey.
Yeah, the inflation is out of control.
The inflation's out of control.
I don't care what you say. It's out of control.
I'm sitting there like, we start shopping at Aldi back when I got laid off the first time. Like, we relied more on Aldi.
We always did before that, but yeah.
But it was like, but then that was when Aldi started to change, where it actually started getting good. Because before that, like, Aldi was there, but it was all, I was telling my kids,
he had an Aldi goods in your town, like.
Yeah.
It was one of the first ones over here.
30 years ago, we had one. And it was used to just all be canned goods and knockoff cereal, crackers, stuff like that. They didn't have fresh meat. They didn't have produce. Really, it was just all canned stuff. And then they started to get
Most of our shopping's
good.
at Aldi. I love Aldi.
But the price of Aldi food, I remember when those animal crackers were 98 cents, and it was just a couple of years ago. And now they're
I was going to
$3.
say, that wasn't that long ago, but yes.
It wasn't that long ago. That's what I'm saying. It was just a couple of years ago, and the prices literally even on the Aldi food have doubled in the last couple of years. So when you're looking at the wages being stagnant, the wages being flat, so you're going to be spending more money on food, on utilities. Utility bills have gone up. It's like I look at the water bill, and I'm like, I remember the water bill
you're
used to be
paying for
$50.
all these corporations.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't, and again, it's not like, well, okay, boomer, well, 30 years ago. I'm like, bitch, I'm talking like 3 years ago. I'm talking like 5 years ago. I remember what the prices were before the pandemic. And, so that definitely has a lot to do with it. But yeah, everybody's getting hit and people are just finding creative ways, I think, to, mitigate that. It said Gen Z consumers expect to reduce their holiday budgets by 23%. Millennials, Gen X, and baby boomer respondents expected to maintain or increase holiday spending. I'm like, why?
Not me. I've decreased. So.
Yeah, everybody. If you're smart, I'm telling you, decrease, because I don't know what next year is going to be like. I'm just telling you. Focusing on essentials. Over the next 3 months, Gen Z consumers plan to prioritize spending on essential items like groceries and gas, and cut back on apparel, shoes, and electronics.
Again, this is where thrifting. Yep, secondhand thrifting. I say this is where thrifting is going to come in, not for the holidays, but just into if you're cutting back on apparel and shoes and stuff. Trust me, I get brand new stuff all the time.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to come up with a thrifting tax. Be like, hey, we're going to charge you even more on.
They do charge us tax. Well,
they shouldn't.
It depends. In PA, we don't have to pay tax on like some things like clothes
and food. But trust us, Pennsylvania, they get you everywhere else.
Yeah, especially if you're a homeowner.
Oh my God, Pennsylvania taxes are
business owner. You're
brutal.
Really screwed.
Business owner. You want to know why? Okay, here's another rant. In Pittsburgh, people will, because this don't even get me started on this. Pennsylvania is one of the most business averse states in the whole damn country. They complain, there's no jobs here. There's no business here. Everybody's packing up shop and they're going out of the state. I'm like, geez, I wonder why when you look at the corporate taxes, the municipality taxes, this tax, that tax, we are some of the most overtaxed people in the whole damn country. Mm-hmm. And that's why everybody's leaving. And that's why all of our towns, if you go into rural Pennsylvania, they're all decaying. That's why even
the cities are
cities are decaying too. It's like, Pittsburgh had a bit of a resurgence with tech and stuff, but as soon as they lure them away to another state, like Texas will be like, hey, come down here. No taxes, get your ass down here. Pennsylvania needs to be like, yeah, you know what? You come to Pennsylvania, no taxes for like 25 years. Just set
up shop.
That'd
be smart, but they're not going to do that.
No, they got to have that money because it's a racket. Anyway, that is my old man rant. But they're talking about, Gen Z just doing more thrifting in general, millennials doing more thrifting. I think it comes out of necessity. It might be a case of this being a good opportunity to, I guess, break that hyper consumerist mindset that, has kind of led us to, I think, the Highlandering of all these retail operations. If more people look at small business and be like, you know what, I'm going to spend less, but I'm going to be more thoughtful about where I spend the money and spend it on smaller businesses to keep them afloat, so we have options other than Walmart.
Well, I do think that's good. And back to the thrifting thing, I was going to say too, another thing that they said's a trend with the Gen Z people, besides like the retro gaming, is the retro fashion. And there's like they're going to like Goodwills and buying a shirt for like 99 cents and thrift flipping it to like $60 at these specialty stores. If you know something, there's a brand you like, go to the thrift stores. Don't just go to the one near you. Find out where the good ones are around you. Go there. Check your marketplace. Check garage sales. Oh my gosh, garage sales are the place to go. Check all this stuff because, you can probably find shoes and clothes that are in like new condition and sometimes new condition for nowhere near what you're spending. Marketplace electronics, same thing. There's all these things you can do throughout the year that can improve your situation, since I'm seeing that they're saying they're not going to be buying that kind of stuff. There's just lots of ways around it you can do. Just, spend the time looking up like where the best places to go are. Now, unfortunately, because everybody and their brother's doing those stupid thrifting videos on like Facebook and stuff, that's probably going to bite you in the butt a little bit. But most of them are focusing on things like, here are these really pretty glass dishes that no one are going to buy. But
nobody was going to buy this. It looks like your grandmother's. Yeah.
Right. And some people do, and you might be able to find some of them, but most people aren't after that. But you're after like retro vintage clothes, and people are paying out the nose for these at these stores. Don't. You can go to these garage sales and find stuff, or especially garage sales or thrift stores and things like that, and find the same things for like $1 or $2 as opposed to the $60 they want.
Yeah. So there we go, guys. It's going to be an interesting holiday. I am very curious to see what the final tally is going to be at the end of it, just overall in spending for the holidays. And I think a lot of retailers are going to be down.
Yeah, I think I don't know, because they keep raising their prices and saying it's a deal. And if people are dumb enough, it might not be down. But I don't know. We'll
That's
see.
true. That's true. So please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Go out to more.clownfishtv.com to get more and to help support the channel. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.